Hi, I'm excited to be sharing with you today a story from my first past life regression book. Here it is, Past Life Regressions. Past Life and Spirit World Regressions, Healing Through Revealing Soul. And I'm going to be sharing a story from this book today that all these stories mean so much to me. This first one is about Vicky. Names have been changed, and I have permission from each person who's given me who I did the regression with. I'm a past life regressionist. This one's about Vicky clearing her blocks. And often in past life regression, we clear traumas, we clear blocks of all kinds. In this case, Vicky was clearing the blocks of sadness and depression, which she carried over to this life. So Vicky came to me, she's in her early 20s. And her intention, she told me, was she wanted to know about soul contracts. Have you ever thought about that? Well, this was on her mind in her early 20s. I was impressed. And she wanted to know lessons she needed to learn in this life. And she was just curious about past lives. So her past life opened where she was in the kitchen and she was with her daughter. She was watching her daughter play. Her daughter was like 4 years old. And Vicky was having a really strong moment of loving her daughter. It was like one of those frozen moments in life and I could see by the way she was acting, smiling, looking, her eyes were closed, how she was taking this in. And she was coming into the realization, she said, this is a lot of love. And she just paused and I felt the gravity of that. She felt it was a moment of enormous, immense love and appreciation between the two of them. The connection was really strong. This is one of the highlights, and I'll tell you later why, of this past life regression. So then the second scene, the first scene was the kitchen. The second scene, Vicky was alone in a field. Her husband had left her, and she felt really sad. She was young, and as she stood there, with the realization of how sad she felt and how depressing it was, she decided, I've got to let it go. Sometimes we decide to let something go and then we don't. It's not easy. It's a practice. So anyway, you'll soon see whether she let it go or not. And then the third scene, she was in an outdoor market with her daughter and they were holding hands, very affectionate, great relationship. And her daughter was reaching for a piece of fruit or something, and Vicky was shaking her head saying no. And at that moment was the realization is she had no money. They were poverty stricken. The husband had left. This was over 100 years ago. And she was alone and depressed, and she couldn't even buy her daughter a piece of fruit. And she felt ashamed and depressed. And these are blocks. She carried some of these over. So when she was 30 in this past life, she passed on really early. And as she was crossing over to spirit world, I said, is there anyone you want to say goodbye to? And she said, no. I thought, wow, I'm kind of surprised. The daughter had meant so much to her. Usually people want to pause a moment, send a message of love. Your loved ones get those messages. And so she moved on to her spirit world, where she met her spirit guide pretty quickly. And actually, first there was some cleansing from a light that often this comes in. There's a cleansing and clearing of the past life. It helps a great deal. Sometimes we carry over some of the things from the past life, but in this case, she was given the gift of cleansing and some healing. She really needed it. She was so sad and depressed. Really, that's why she died, because she just gave up. As often is the case, so often we are at the point where we're so depressed. It's like, well, do I just give up or do I try to make it? But she was so deep in depression that she gave up and she died. And when she passed on, in spirit world, she had healing on that. And then she met her spirit guide, who was the color purple. It was like an energy, a live energy of color purple. And she felt a connection with this guide. And the the guide, I always ask the question, for what purpose did you bring Vicky here today to show her this particular past life? What does that have to do with her life today? That's my main question in a past life regression. Um, and the guide said it was to tell you about the little girl. You haven't met her yet, but be patient. You will. And as the guide went on to tell us, she was going to have this little girl again in her life as her daughter in this life. And Vicky was really excited. I mean, she started smiling. She was so happy. This was not a woman of emotion. She had been kind of stoic and not show much emotion at all. I kind of couldn't even read her very well with emotionally. And at this point, she was happy. Her energy picked up. She would be very excited to be having this daughter again in her life because she already knew the daughter and she knew the love they shared and how beautiful it was and how deep it was and how much they appreciated and loved each other. Vicky couldn't wait. So I asked the guide, for what purpose will Vicky reunite with this daughter? Because there's a purpose for everything. And Vicky had wanted to know about soul contracts. So the guide said, because Vicky will be learning from something from you, and this life will be a lot more fun for you together. And also, this is your karma because you left your daughter behind and you gave up early. There's no judgment with this; it's just a fact. And your obligation to her now can be cleared. You can clear the whole slate of your karma, giving up and leaving her, and because she was left in a bad state. So the guide, I mean, Vicky was over the moon with this, that she realized that she did have karma. She realized that she did have a daughter that she would be meeting, who she met in her past life and who would be reuniting. This is a soulmate type of a pod soul relationship she and her daughter had. And she'd have a chance to make good on this. And it cleared the guilt from the past life. So Vicky had some concerns about, is this going to happen? Is there anything I can do? And the guide said, it's okay. I'm going to help you. And it's going to be okay. So the guide is going to guide them together again in this life. So exciting. So Vicky had shared later in the regression, she's still under the regress state of mind, that she had been rejected by someone really special before she moved to her present location. And this person had really hurt her deeply in many ways, especially with the overall rejection, because Vicky really loved this person. She carried a lot of sadness for this person. She longed for this person. It was like an emptiness in her. And once so the guide handed her, and there was a pause, and then Vicky reported to me, I'm being handed an orange ball. It's like alive. It's an orange ball. It has an energy that's very alive. And this is for healing. And she described the ball. She said, it feels really warm, but it's almost hot, to tell you the truth. And this was to heal her sadness. And so I said, okay, let's just pause a moment and let the orange ball do its work for you. And we did. And after I said, are you good? Are you finished, do you think, with the orange ball? She said, yeah. She said, I feel very comforted. I feel uplifted and hopeful. And all she could think about was this daughter that would be coming into her life. So there was so much healing in this past life regression. And Vicky told me that when she came in for the past life regression, she said, I never thought I would have a family or children in this life, didn't even want them. But now I want a family and I want a child, at least one. So it was a game changer. Her whole life had changed as a result of this past life regression and the information that she received from it. And this is pretty typical in a past life regression. It's a past life soul regression. I always address the soul. So the guide had brought her to me. These things are guided to have this regression, this particular past life to visit for the particular reasons that the guide gave in order to clear her and bring her healing and give her the news that she would be once again with her daughter from the past life. So exciting. I'm so happy for these people. Um, for Vicky and for many other of my clients who receive news. You don't always receive news of something that's going to happen, but you do always receive information, instruction, a lot of insight, realizations, revelations. They're extraordinary. The experience is deep and deeply felt by my clients. So she received what she came to receive. She wanted to know about soul contracts. She wanted to know about karma. She needed to clear her blocks. And her energy was clearly shifted at the end of the past life regression. She had come in kind of stoically without much energy. She left with a lot of energy and happiness. She was smiling. So, and she told me, she said, this time, looking forward, she said, this time when I'm with my daughter, she said, we won't be poor. She said, I have a great job and I have good income. I can't wait. Is that fantastic or what? I'm so excited for Vicky and for you and us to be sharing this wonderful, important past life of hers. So take care. Have a great day.